truth, the lies, and politics. Informative, educative, and analytical. Getting to the real issues that affect an ordinary individual in areas of leadership, governance, social, and economy. The truth, the lies, and politics.
We do welcome you back from that short break. This is Spirit TV, and we're on The Truth, Lies, and Politics here in studio. I have the PRO of Kampala City Traders Associations, that is Kasita, Mr. Gerald Muhumuza. I also have a policy analyst, and when it comes to conversations around trade, from Siatini, and one that sits at, dealing with the non-tariff barriers, and that is Mr. Owen, who is in studio, Owen Mugambwa. Also, I have Mr. Charles Romushana, who is a political analyst on the show and a former spy, and who was just giving a bit of analysis on, the agreement and the trade relations. We left off while Charles was still explaining his point.
So therefore, the wealth a people has is the market. And initially, states protected their markets.
All right.
What we would call protectionism. And then would use their markets to negotiate. So Europe, USA, Japan, etc., they do trade deals. Trade deals in the sense that I will buy vehicles from you, Japan, but you also buy beans from me. It's a deal. But as we speak right now, for us, first and foremost, we don't have capacity to negotiate. I don't even think that they even know what they want.
The second one, you mean our leaders or our ambassadors?
Yes, our leaders. I don't even think they know what they want. Okay. Because I was doing analysis, there was a platform where I was last night, I was doing analysis on food. We have around 70% of arable land on Earth, Africa, where we can produce food without even use of fertilizers, you see. And that means we can provide more than 60% of world food.
We can be there.
Yes. But do we produce and export food? Instead, we are literally becoming net importers of food. Ukraine, etc. Why? Because we are not organized. And two, the consumers of food like China and India, they would rather come and produce that food here themselves.
From here. And then
so you cannot say, I'm going to go to Japan and produce a car that I'm going to use here. No, they won't let you. But the Chinese will come and produce rice.
They're already making, assembling cars here in Uganda.
No, they will come and produce rice at Rukaya or where there and export that rice. The Uganda state cannot empower Ugandans to produce this rice and sell it. They cannot. For some other reasons, but now let me look at because we are now dealing with survival. This businessman of Kasita is an agent of the state.
What do you mean, Charles? Is an agent of the state?
Because when the state is imposing a tax, and an indirect tax, it is aiming at a buyer.
Yes.
That is the object. Now, but where the danger now is that this state which is using this businessman to collect from the buyer, collects from the businessman before the businessman sells.
Already?
Yes, I think initially when we started the commerce, trade and aid is trade. You remember, we used to have bonded warehouses.
Yeah.
That you buy goods as an importer, the goods are in the bond, you only pay taxes when the consumer is buying.
Yes.
Yeah, so this, I bought a car from some Pakistani or what. He only paid the tax when I purchased. You get? So those ones are allowed because they are in the bonded warehouse. But the state used this businessman or abused the ally in this businessman. You pay the tax before you sell. That means when you are mobilizing capital, you must mobilize capital including the tax. So if you are borrowing money from a bank to do business, you must borrow, 1, to pay the taxes, and 2, to trade. You get?
Yes.
So in other words, the bank will be charging you interest on money that you paid as tax.
Yes.
That is silly economics. Now, this target, who is the buyer, has flexibility not to buy.
But you've already bought and paid taxes, okay?
For you have already bought.
Yeah,
you have it in stock.
Yes.
This buyer has the flexibility.
Yes.
The survival instincts are that he will not buy. Or he will postpone the purchase.
So what happens then?
Yes. So, if I was putting on 5 trousers, I can put on 2. Yeah, there are certain things I can do away with, including an underwear. Yes, you get. So, because we are being squeezed, the buyer has flexibility, not to use a taxi but to walk. You get? So, now the businessman remains the target until this businessman collapses. So you are now we are now managing collapse. That's why the central Uganda, Matoke, which is feeding Kampala, is from Ankole. Is from Tungamo, which is 400 kilometers, and Ushenyi, 400 kilometers. Potatoes are from Soroti and Mbale, 400 kilometers. Beans are from Tanzania. Rice is from Tanzania. Mangoes, carrots, etc. are from Kenya. Irish potatoes are from Kenya and also South Africa.
What happened to the
G-nuts?
Yes.
I think G-nuts is Tanzania. You get? So in the center here, population is being squeezed to survive daily. So if you are going to survive daily, then you can't do agriculture. If you need money to survive on a daily basis, you can't do agriculture. You get? Because agriculture, you begin getting money after 5 years, or that is for coffee, or months, etc. So that's why the population is now selling borders
to get immediate.
In other, we have increased urbanization, trading centers in the villages, up to towns, etc. This urbanization is not as a result of industrialization. No.
It's a result
this urbanization is as a result of migration from land. You get, because population has collapsed, it can no longer be on land. So at best now it is selling land. So if you are talking about protectionism, you should be protecting this vulnerable population from having its land bought by foreigners who are not investing. You get? Wow, so because this population would never have the opportunity or capacity to buy back this land. So that is the nature of collapse. The danger is that there will be an uprise. Because if you have got a girl child, now a girl child, if you're planning for a girl child, the first thing you should plan for is accommodation. Before you even begin thinking about education. Yeah, because a girl child can get food around, but accommodation is going to be very, very problematic, more especially in the urban setting.
Right, yes.
But as I've told you, life in the urban center like Kampala is cheaper than in the village.
Things have changed. Yes.
Most of the food in my home is 500, almost 400 kilometers away from Kampala. We get food from the garden. To subsidize ourselves here. So families that arranged that can survive. But if you have not organized that, you will collapse because you are dealing with a collapsed state, but which is doing political clientele. It buys political support. So it needs money from businessmen to go and purchase, to go and buy rented political those councillors you hear about, and it is you must fund them and the Barimwezos, you hear talking a lot of English, the Mfunduros, it's you must fund those people, and you will collapse.
Yeah, quite the perspective there. Thank you, Charles. And these are sobering things that we are talking about. You know, and you've given that picture. Now, with that picture in mind, Mr. Owen, I am thinking this agreement has been signed, and the excitement, of course, you know, is that, wow, we have signed an agreement. From your perspective and from your experience, you know, how long does it take for this to be now, you know, operationalized in a way? Because we want this as soon as, I know he will tell you, as soon as yesterday.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For the MOU and the different sectors that it has touched, in terms of trade, in terms of investment, and I think the operationalization requires further involvement, specifically from the private sector, from the Mr. Muhammadans,
Yes.
and as civil society engage. I think the member states, the ones that have signed the MOU, on how they could operationalize. But then the other issue of markets, and the markets that we export to, the major markets that we export to. And I wanted to speak a bit on that.
Okay,
and,
yes.
The major markets that we export to, the USA, the UK, the EU, and all these other global
China.
And all these other global north markets that we export to. And the kind of disintegration that is happening, the kind of uncertainty that is happening, those markets are no longer sure for us. With the growing Trump tariffs, the abrupt tariffs that are tied on to different conditionalities. And then you look at the EU that has come up with unilateral measures that are meant to address climate change, which is a global good and an emergency that we all experienced. I think this year in February we had the hottest month in this country. So seeing climate change as an issue that needs to be addressed, and the EU coming up with those directives in good faith, but them being unilateral and having costs that have to be borne by us as we export to those economies, by African producers, who majority of whom are small scale farmers, small scale producers that cannot bear those costs. So when we talk about the ESC, and I think Mr. Muhumuza will agree, currently again for Uganda the ESC is our biggest market.
Yes.
Is the biggest market for our goods. And looking at the importance of integrating and having deeper integration of not just the two of us that signed the MOU on these different issues, but having deeper integration in terms of marketing the East African community, all 8 member states, as one destination for investment, and addressing all the other issues that we had mentioned in terms of NTBs. Because now the ESC is the sure market that we have, if I could say that.
Yes, it's a huge
It is the sure market that we have because of the other disintegration that we have mentioned. The Commission has mentioned protectionism that is happening with all these markets. And we can no longer, I think, surely count on these markets. And we should encourage and continue to advocate for us in civil society for policies that could address some of the issues that we could look at in terms of the kind of market and capacity to kind of absorb the goods that we produce internally as the ESC. So to look at it in that way, in that perspective of it being an opportunity, the kind of disruptions that are happening internationally with the markets that we majorly export to. For instance, our coffee's biggest market is with the EU. But
the EU buys our coffee raw.
Yes. It does that. But then the directive on the deforestation directive, the EUDR, kind of will create a bump in the vehicle for us to access that market. So when we look at the MOU, when we look at the ESC integration as an issue, we should look at it as an imperative. It's no longer a choice for us to think we should cooperate with our other 7 member states.
It's a must.
It is a must for us to do that.
You had mentioned some of the things when it comes to intertrade between the countries. There are still some countries that are charging, what is it called, before you get into the country?
Visas, yes.
Visas, you're still paying for your visa?
Yes, the DRC. And those are some of the issues that need to be addressed. Because the DRC became a member of the East African Community.
Yes.
And as we mentioned, the common market protocol that calls for the free movement of persons across borders. But when we see some of those kind of impediments that we've mentioned, and Mr. Muhumuza could attest, these charges, especially for our small-scale traders and our women traders that make the majority of the cross-border trading communities, these kinds of charges most definitely increase the cost of doing business, and it continues to impede business. Because as the ESC, we stand at around 15% of intra-ESC trade, the kind of trade that we do with our other countries. It's
at 15%.
15%.
And in other countries, it's as big as...
around the EU, it's above 60%. Asia also, but Asia having more of an export model, but it's also above 20%.
Working within years.
Yes, working of trade that is done internally. So, and the other issue that Mr. Muhumuza had mentioned, the issue of infrastructure, which is also part of the MOU that was signed with Kenya, and what we hope to be replicated across, because markets can be there, but then these markets need to be physically connected. And that can be only done with infrastructure.
So by that you mean, when I look at the railways, Kenya has done its part and is moving. His standard gauge. Uganda is now on its own way. We wonder what is happening in Congo, in South Sudan, in Rwanda. I mean, some of these things we had before, but now it's like we are starting afresh. And it becomes a point of concern, you know. Thank you very much. Let me move to Mr. Muhumuza. You know, when you had this agreement signed, non-tariff barriers, you were jubilating, not so?
Yes, please.
Yes, you're jubilating. What do you stand to gain as traders?
You see, when the agreement is signed,
yes,
we think that tax is also going to be reduced. Transport is going to be okay for our traders. Common market is going to be available for each and everyone from East African community. However, I still believe that it will take time because the African will never be serious when it comes to business issues. There are some which is normally called kitu kidogo. Some people prolong some business because of their own interest. And Uganda, you see, we don't have much export. We are taking to Kenya, apart from maize, gold, and milk. But most of the products we are getting it from Kenya. And most of what we are putting in our business, you know, we know it passed via Kenya.
Yes.
Okay? Only that we pray that since they signed that agreement, I think it may be okay. Because I can see Mr. President Museveni and Dr. Uhuru, Dr. Ruto. They are together. They are one. And it is only a problem which is affecting our business. Our business fraternity has been okay, but only
the issue of the double taxation. Actually triple taxation.
Yeah, so that's the problem we have. Now let me tell you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
For us to have business here in Kampala, you start in the morning, you park your car, you pay money for parking. Then after parking, toilet you pay separately.
Okay, not even because not because you rent the
yes, you come to the building, you pay electricity.
Okay.
You pay water. So at the end of the day, when you start with some,
then you have food to
eat lunch,
yes,
and also breakfast. Then the revenue man also come. You have also ground rent. You have also license. You have also URA. So you get yourself that you are working for the government. A businessman, I'm telling you, soon people are going to abandon the business.
Yeah. How does one then make, because when you think about, I usually, I like that you painted the picture of the taxes that just one business person, you know, there is the certificate of operation, you have to clear that one. There is the ground rent, then there is the rent in the building, then there is the parking. You paid fuel to leave home, and Charles had painted a picture where you left, there is also rent. You are renting. You come here, there is electricity, there is water, there is the toilet that you're paying for.
Parking. And if you are from Entebbe, you pay from Express.
You pay Express where you are paying. Basically, you're living, you're basically a, I think Apostle Mose in one of his SFFG training says, you are a conduit.
True.
You know, the money you receive is the money that goes through you. You pay the taxman, you pay the taxi, you pay the what,
Recently, there is a friend of mine told him he started a business with 100 million. But when last week started calculating, he's having 50 million. 50 million gone.
Just in these small
things. You are competing with people who are bringing in a big containers.
Yes.
You are just bringing small also to survive with your family. You see, that's why people are demonstrating every day. Business fraternity is not okay today. You people, I'm not saying people say, why are you there? Yes, we are there.
You're painting the picture of what is on ground.
But we are there, not because we don't have anything to do. That's how we are surviving. But I wouldn't advise a colleague to come to the business today. Business is very hot. Unless now, at the end of the day, they bring things, you go, you pay in tax, they go and start measuring your things in kilo. Inflation is also back. Indirectly now it is in cars and in motorcycles. Now soon again it will come indirect slowly.
Through the landlords,
so my brother, I am telling you what is taking place now today.
How do you people then survive? Because then you're transferring that cost to the one who is buying.
To the final consumer.
Who has an option to buy or not to buy.
And that's why you see, you go now to Kampala, you go to the business, you see people are just early in the morning, you get them, they are reading papers.
They are seated,
Others, they are chatting on the phone.
Yes.
No business. But remember, they have to pay. Landlord has to get money every month. Electricity you have to pay. Water you have to pay. Parking you have to pay. Toilet you have to pay. Everything.
What has government done? Because we know that government has given some people, what do they call them? Either tax breaks or, you know, to ease the burden on you. Has government moved to do anything for the local traders in currently? As I said, to get a bus on your one, or no. We are reducing apart from
the government policy want to make all Ugandans poor. That is a policy.
From your perspective.
Exactly.
And your experience.
Exactly. And they are going to make it, and they have already fulfilled it. The government of President Museveni doesn't want rich people. Want the poor people to keep on kneeling and begging. Otherwise, taxation has gone high. Many people have abandoned the containers in their warehouses, not because they don't want it, but because the tax has gone high. You get my point? Somebody get a loan from the bank, has to pay the loan, but when you bring those things, the taxes become high and they say no. You will see, people soon are going to be hanging themselves. We have had people who are dying.
Which is sad.
You see?
It's very, very sad.
Unless government subsidize the taxes.
Yes.
That way Ugandans are going to enjoy the business.
Wow. Sobering right there. Mr. Owen, you are in policy. We need to start thinking about turning the tide. You know, with the situation, and I know you experience and you see these things happening, where is our hope coming from? I know, yes, we've signed the non-tariff barriers and it takes a whole long process. But for the person who is going to Kampala City every morning, and that person is busy, you know, when you go to Chikubo, people are moving around, you know, being very busy. Where is our hope going to come from?
At Siatini, we believe that the power is in the policies. That's why we've been engaged in several key policy processes. Currently, there's an ongoing review of the national trade policy.
Okay.
That underwent a regulatory impact assessment that we were involved in, and we came to the decision to create a new policy to kind of help at the policy level to address some of the issues that are faced by our people, our traders, the people that are involved in the day-to-day running of our country.
Yes.
But there are also other policy issues that are just not at the national level. There are policy issues that are at the EAC level, policy issues at the continental level, and at the global level. Because some of the decisions that are taken at these levels do come back and affect the Mr. Muhumuzas, and maybe because I'm a Ugandan.
Yes. No.
So we do believe that, and that is why we engage specifically on policy and practices around these different areas. So we believe, and the issue is mainly a policy issue, and that's why we try to build capacity awareness, so that the Ugandan, the Mr. Muhumuzas, can have a voice at the table, can raise, kind of elevate their voices to these tables that make the decisions.
Yes.
And that is where we see the ray of light, the involvement of people in key policy processes and decisions that affect them. Because when Mr. Muhumuza's voice is heard at the table of a decision maker, most definitely the kind of policies that are going to come out of that process will reflect what is desired and the kind of outcome that they want in the different engagements.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Owen. Charles, we are getting into the election period. We are starting very soon, or we're going to have the presidential nominations happening, and it's a whole new season. How does this play out with the whole political season till elections? It comes to the economics of this country, it comes to the traders, when it comes to our traders within the city. How does this play? How do you see this playing out, with the political season?
Which one?
That we're in very soon, where we're going to even start the president start moving around already. We've had the primaries from the different parties and how that worked for us, but we are getting into now a heavier political season, the trading, the economics.
Yes, you need to check, because the system has collapsed. The state has collapsed. So you now need to check the interests of the various actors or players in the politics. So you have a voter, you have a delegate of the National Resistance Army, especially Nakba, who came not to have a leader of the organization, but to make some money. The voter just came, one, because there was an allowance, and point number two, that people are going to run for elections and therefore they are going to give them money. So he was not looking at having a political organization one solve his problems or solve national problems and access power. Then you also have a politician who is participating because it's business. So I'm going to put in my 5 billion shillings. I hope to become a member of SEC, and then I will do deals, corruption, etc. Because as I've told you, it's very difficult to survive in a failed state unless you break the law. You cannot survive within the law. So you cannot survive as a businessman in this state unless you evade taxes. So why you are hearing of complaints is not because taxes are high. No. It's because because they have always been high anyway. It's because the state is increasingly becoming efficient
In collecting.
on the tax collector. Because this businessman is a tax collector, he doesn't pay taxes
He collects on behalf of.
of the state.
Mm.
The only difference is that he advances the state. That's why he feels it. By the way, I don't know that whether MTN is already through with the case of tax evasion. But MTN was under investigations. And huge billions of money. I'm hearing of KFC. You heard about that case of KFC?
Yes.
Yes. But these ones collect taxes. So why you see them make money is because they don't remit those taxes to the Uganda Revenue Authority. So when Uganda Revenue Authority finally catches up with you, then you have a lot of taxes accumulated. I was involved in one case with some guy, I think whom I introduced the president, and they followed up a tax investigation. It came to around 40 billion shillings then, if I can remember. But that was enough to destroy the entire empire if the money was collected. And the guy was negotiated, to cut the story short, an amendment was made in Parliament to the effect that if you had tax arrears of 2 years, you will be forgiven.
Yes, I remember this time you were something.
Yes, and that's how this guy sponsored that amendment, or was facilitated to sponsor this amendment, and was given his tax bill. You get, so those who are surviving and are dominating the business space, they don't pay taxes, or they are businesses that belong to the deep state. Yes, you see, otherwise, they would be asking Ham, this Ham Ruashan in town, they would be asking him the source of his money.
What did you call him?
Ham Ruashan. You can't deploy the Ham unless you have Ruashan.
Charles, yes.
They would be asking him, where do you get this money?
Yes.
To cover Omwara, which the state can't cover. Because even to put up a Mwara, the state had to borrow money from Mwara the bank.
Just to cover that.
Now, for you to cover it, you have even to destroy it. Because he's destroying it to rebuild it. The state would be asking him, where, that's the work of the state we are talking about policy. Where did you get this money? Did you pay taxes when you were accumulating this money? You get? Right. Because, yes, but you see, he's now going to put up those structures, and then these business people will come to rent these structures. He will not pay taxes because they don't pay fees. They charge as they wish. So that's what I was saying.
Yes.
These business people, if you are talking about getting organized, it's not enough to lament. You get organized to fight. Because it's a war of existence. It's not a war of survival. You get extinct. As I've told you, I was explaining to you here, when we were the Indians will use Bank of Baroda, the Indian state will use Bank of Baroda and facilitate its people start businesses. Yeah, they will have supermarkets. You will not display your goods in their supermarkets. You get?
I mean, you've seen the Chinese supermarkets, the ones that sell very many Chinese products.
Yes, you can't. You can't. They facilitate this. Ban Cafe? I don't know, whether you know Ban Cafe.
Ban Cafe.
He had the idea, Stephen Wanyezachi, he had the idea of adding value to coffee and pushed hard for government to fund. When the government accepted to fund, they didn't give him the money because they were struggling to access Chinese markets. Instead, they went in using other mechanisms, but minus him. Now, where he was in Grand Imperial, they are Chinese toys. Where Uganda coffee, the coffee bar, could not survive, Chinese toys are surviving there. Now you go and do research and see how many Chinese toys they sell a day. Literally, they don't sell. So who subsidizes them? I normally I used to do some research on those most of Kampala Road. The common product there are laptops, used laptops, and those electronics. But you go and carry out a survey, they don't sell. This market is so small for those products.
The demand.
So how do they survive on that street in terms of high rent? You get? So that explains to you that either they are subsidized or they don't pay the taxes. And this is what Idi Amin fought. Because Idi Amin was saying, you know, the most patriotic, the most Ugandan there is the one who sells mangoes. These women who vend mangoes. But now even they do no longer vend mangoes from Uganda, they vend mangoes from Kenya.
We are saying they may not
so when Kenya is bringing, yes, when Kenya is bringing mangoes here or Kenya is bringing in carrots, there are no trade barriers. But when you are going to take maize to Kenya,
yes,
there will be trade barriers. When they are bringing in their fuel and it is their fuel where they are making money, it's because most of this fuel is theirs. Why? Because it's on a letter of credit. It belongs to the banks. They will be very efficient. You won't have those barriers. You only have barriers if you are taking in products that compete with their locals, like milk. Yes.
Eggs.
Yes, and milk and eggs, etc. Because they subsidize. By the way, let me tell you, if you didn't know, I was discussing with, actually I think I can release him on air, Aga, Sikarala Junior. He was telling us chicken feeds, cassava. Cassava is cheaper, the cassava from Thailand is cheaper in Uganda than cassava from Soroti.
It's cheaper
to import cassava from Thailand than to bring cassava from Soweto to Kampala. Kampala here. And he told us out of patriotism he does not import cassava feeds for his chicken from Thailand. Because this farm of yours is not efficient. So the only intervention mechanism you have had in terms of policy from Mr. Museveni is PDM. What is PDM addressing? PDM is only addressing financing. It's access to credit. But there are other things you are supposed to look at. How do you make this farmer efficient and so that he can compete
on that level?
Now the Kenyans are investing into their farmer. And then now you want to take there your products. They are not serious. But you see, they also ask another thing. And you see what they are not telling you. Where the Kenyans are more patriotic than Ugandans. When they are saying, if you are going to sell sugar to our market because of this common market policy, this sugar should be produced either by the Ugandan or the Ugandan should be benefiting.
That's what they are asking.
Yes, at least I monitor their intelligence, investigate that. So you cannot be producing sugar here. It's being produced by an Indian, right? The Indian is taking 99% of the proceeds of that sugar. The Ugandan farmer is taking less than 1%, and you think Tanzania should give a market to this Indian. It doesn't make sense. Wow. So who is more Ugandan? Who is more pro-Uganda? Tanzania and Kenya are more pro-Uganda in their protectionism than we are here. Because we are donating markets of East Africa to Indian and to Chinese. Let me end with this.
Okay.
I have a friend who deals in spare parts. And he used to do spare parts of tractors. These heavy caterpillars. So he told me he was now going to shift to these trucks from China. Sino-trucks. Now, these Sino-trucks are two levels. When the Chinese discovered that Ugandans were importing Sino-trucks, they decided to bring their own yard here.
Yes.
So they removed the middleman. But above all, they made that Sino-truck with a big carrier. The tray is too big because they discovered we are that city, we will overload the truck, and they ensured some parts are weak. either in the D4 in the down there, which would always be breaking. So give them 1 or 2, and within no minute I started seeing those trucks on the road and buying spare parts. So this is how they make money. They will sell you a cheap Sino truck, you will overload it, it will collapse on the road, and you will be buying the spares from.
Wow.
That's the Chinese market. It is for the poor, and you don't have a mechanism through NBS to protect your own people. So they get cheated, and eventually there will be a collapse.
Wow. Thank you very much, Charles, for that.
Can you imagine that local chicken, which is now not available, even local eggs, which are not available, over free range, are more expensive than chicken you feed that must be on must consume electricity and drugs, etc. But ours are more expensive.
Yes, it's complicated. It's upside down. When someone says Uganda is a food basket, and yet we have over 70% importing literally the food, and what is happening?
The gonya we have just taken is from DRC.
Is from DRC Congo, yes. I will leave Gerald to give the last word, but is there anything else that can be done when someone looks at this? Someone is wondering, is Uganda trading enough to match its potential? If it's not, then what should be done?
One of the issues that we've been looking at Siatini, because we believe that in any trading environment, there needs to be a robust and a fast means to resolve disputes. And specifically for the East African community, we've been looking at the operationalization of the Committee on Trade Remedies. The Committee on Trade Remedies was created initially by the 3 founding states, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. And that specific, it was prescribed to have 3 members from each of those founding members. So it was meant to have 9 members.
Yes.
But then as time went on, at this point we are at 8 members. And Article 24 that created that committee on trade remedies was then reviewed to include participation from each of the members.
From each of those members, yes.
But then I think only one of the ESC members has ratified that specific amendment.
Wow.
So it has not been operationalized. So the lack thereof of a robust trade dispute resolution mechanism continues to impede on trade and sees the persistence of these NTDs, because currently then the only means to address the kinds of disputes that come up during trade is through the East African Court of Justice, which also has a plethora of other issues that it's dealing with. It has over 200, a backlog of cases, financing issues that continue to happen in terms of the payment of the subscription fees. Only the 3 founding members are remitting the subscription fees. The new members don't seem to be to be compliant with that kind of arrangement. So specifically the Trade Remedies Committee, the Committee on Trade Remedies, the ratification by the member states, and the operationalization would help to also address some of the issues that we are seeing in this trade. And it also creates an attractive environment for investment, because as a regional economic bloc, we are hoping to attract investments. And the creation of and the operationalization of this committee creates an attractive environment. So on that specific issue, and then and the involvement, as we mentioned, the continued involvement of the private sector, of civil society in these policy processes to help shape them so that they can help realize the kind of aspirations that we have as a people. Because with the establishment of the East African Community, it was meant to be a people-centered arrangement. So looking at all those issues, and I wish the we can continue to collaborate with
Together.
Mr. Muhumuzas to see that we realize these goals.
Actually,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Muhumuza, you have about 2 minutes, all right? What is your last word?
My last
on the song
word,
and the
first
message
of all,
too.
First of all, I want to thank the management of Spirit TV
yes.
for inviting us and giving us this opportunity. However, I have liked the conversation for our colleagues. They had issues and they had points, especially Mr. Romushana Kananale's issue, being a former spy, has been going underground, digging, bringing issues. I want to encourage my business partners to stand firm, to continue with the business as we're engaging with the government, to see that they can subsidize our tax and see that at least they bring us back from the kilogram to our ordinary tax which we have been paying.
Yes.
I see that it is, especially now, we have a problem of UNBS. UNBS also now, you check yourself today. They are, if you go to is it Container Village? You know Container Village? You buy a poison, this dies on for the bed bugs. As if now you're spraying that bed bug to grow mature.
You are encouraging.
You are encouraging. You ask yourself, really, where have they passed that dies on to come to Uganda?
Yes,
You just get maize, it does not grow. You see subsidized goods from China, you see on the market, you buy shoes today, tomorrow is not there. So we are encouraging the government also to cross-check and see UNBS, how they are working their things.
The standards.
The standards. And I think how they are taxing us, it is also
Even the
high.
embassies, by the way.
Yeah?
That's the work of embassies.
So,
To ensure, yes.
so that is my own appeal.
Yes.
And as I conclude, I wish everybody, I want to thank everyone who have been listening to us, that we are there, are your business partners, and we shall continue. Shall continue serving you until the last hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
The last hour, that is 3.
The last Thank you very much, Mr. Gerald Muhumuza from Kasita. Thank you very much, Owen from Siatini, and Charles from Mushana. Our verse of the day is coming from Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, which says, when the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan, or the people mourn. All right, let us pray. Father, we thank you for the conversations we have had on here. Lord, our economy is in your hands. You alone know how to resuscitate the economy. You know how to place the right people in those places. And so, Father, we ask, oh God, that you will help us revive and resuscitate this economy so that your people can do business and grow wealth and be a blessing to the communities around us. Lord, even as our panelists go and even as we go away, we do pray that you will protect us. We do pray that you will keep us safe. Help us reach our destination safe and sound, and bless the works of our hands. We pray all this believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Gerald. And thank you, the tech team here at Spirit TV. I do thank you also, the viewers, for watching. And may God bless you. We still have beautiful programming for you. Stay tuned.
The truth